Okay, so good morning everyone and welcome back in today's class again. Okay, uh, till yesterday, what we were discussing about the techniques or requirement allocation, requirement gathering. We've done a lot of famous techniques, a lot of good techniques called the brainstorming, document analysis, focus group, interviews, observation, and we were discussing about the reverse engineering. Okay, when I talk about the reverse engineering, what in the layman language the reverse engineering says, the reverse engineering do, it says instead of starting from scratch, start from the place where you are at point of time. It means if I say, Suraj, identify the gap of the change management, then you will say, Atul, can I have some kind of a documentation? Can I have some kind of a process flow? I said, no, these are not available. Then you will say, Atul, how I can do? This is called the reverse engineering. I will say, okay, do one thing, start from the current state and investigate. Instead of going back into the day one, you are on the day n, pick up the day n and start working or start building the process, the documentation, the workflows again, and then identify the gaps. So here are the same similar points which we were discussing yesterday. It is a understanding on of how a product works more comprehensive than by the merely observing. Means इसमें in this you enter into that particular product, you enter in that particular tool to understand that how it's working. It is a means of investigate error and limitation in the existing program and help in the correcting them. In this particular process, you will find out that why this error is coming and you solve that part without seeing the background, without knowing the background much in detail. You do this in the reverse engineering part. Okay, now let's say example, I purchased a scooter in 2010. Okay, and it is not working now properly. I go to mechanic. Now here's two ways. Either he will say, sir, do you have a manual of this? If it is not a good mechanic, do you have a manual of this? I said, no, boss, I don't have a manual. Then what he will do? He will he will see the scooter from the current state perspective with the previous experience which he have. अच्छा इसका क्लच भी है, इसमें गियर भी है, इसमें ऑयल भी है, इसमें ब्रेक्स भी है, इसमें ये भी है, इसमें वो भी है, and then find out that why it is giving a error or what is the limitation of the scooter at point of time. That is called the reverse engineering. Okay, it helps to make product and system compatible because now you are studying the tool or the product from the current state, not from the background. Okay, determine whether someone else has literally copied elements to its own technology. Sometimes what happens that uh, mm, of one, कई बार क्या होता है रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग में, वी आइडेंटिफाइड कि बॉस जो कोड लिखा हुआ है, जो लॉजिक लिखा हुआ है, is it someone developed by own way instead of going for the best practices. जिसे कहते हैं ना, sometimes what happens that if you open the code you say it is not working for some other value. When you investigate, you find, oh, this has been hard coded by that particular customer or the user, sorry, developer, not customer, not user, by that particular developer. It means he done the elements by its own technology. Okay. Now it helps to understand the obsolete product. By seeing the or by doing the current state, it will help you to understand that okay, is it still obsolete? Like again the scooter example. By seeing the scooter, mechanic says, sorry sir, it's already obsolete. Or it's going to be obsolete very soon. Okay. Evaluate cost benefit and reverse engineering can be time consuming and expensive. Yes. The thing is that it's a cost benefit means that again, now if I go and take the scooter to mechanic and start fixing, He charged 1000 rupees to me. I said, but boss, it is too much. The worth of scooter is not that much. He says, but your issue need to be fixed. So this is the one where I have to do. I have to be charged. So before go for the reverse engineering, it is be required that it is the cost benefit is there or not, because it is very time consuming, very time. In this, why it's time consuming? Because you need to be work on each and every component from the current state. And after that is it is also not guarantee that what you understand and on the basis this tool has been developed is still same or not. It says document the results in a manner that can be reviewed and verified the business or SMEs. Now, if you build something, or if you document some processes or some kind of things, and you send for the review and business says sorry, your understanding is wrong. The scooter was built so that a family can travel along with the some basic luggage. And you say scooter is one of the fanciest item as per your research, as per your reverse engineering, then it can be that business is not happy with that particular things. But if that verified and agreed by business, then it become a baseline as well. Now let's say example, if someone joined this batch today and says, Atul, I want to be learned BA. I said no. You have to start from today itself and go back from the previous sessions. Take this as a base, but in this you assume that other person is going on the videos on the daily basis. He's understanding the example which I giving in the training session. So this is what we call as a reverse engineering. Okay, clear till this point? Any doubt? Yes, Hitesh, Suraj.
No, though. Makes sense.
Good.
Yeah.
Now come to the survey and
No question at all.
good. Okay. Survey or questionnaire. As the name indicates, this is the last technique which we are going to be discussed in this requirement allocation. As the name indicate, if you want to get a large number of data from the large audience, okay, there's a saying that you should, if you're sending a survey to 1,000 people, at least 20 or 30% you should get the results. In our I'm putting the example from the PhD again, because in PhD this surveys play a very vital role. Now let's say example, if I say I want to do a survey on the ITL4, I cannot talk to 1,000 people, but if I create a survey and I roll out to my friends, LinkedIn हो गया, social media हो गया, everywhere, then I can get the results. But there's a lot of discussion that happened in the background. So first question will be come in your mind, Atul, how you make sure that the survey you're doing is giving the accurate results? That it depends on the questionnaire you defined in survey. Now let's say example, why my employee performance is decreasing, or why there is a lot of resignation rate in my, or attrition rate in my company. Then company roll out a survey. If we put a lot of questions, 30, 35 questions or 40 questions, you gone. People will reply only first 5, 10 questions seriously, rest they will not respond seriously. Yes, 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 no, 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 maybe, no, 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 not agree, not agree, not agree, like this. Okay, so it depends that how this survey or the questionnaire defined. There's a lot of research paper available that how to write a good survey or questionnaires. This is going to be my next work in this area. Okay, survey or questionnaire used to allocate the business analysis information, including information about the customer, product, work practice, and attitude from a group of people in a structured way. Very, very, very important. if you want to know about who is customer, how is the customer, what is the business, their products, their work practice, and their attitude, then you organize this survey specifically. But it is a structured. Structured means it is not like you are be creating 1,000 or 2,000 questions. No, a limited set of questions for a limited time period. Guys, please respond in the next 2 days. Survey is getting close now. Okay. Survey description specifically. As I say, because I'm feeling good to discuss this topic because this is one of the major area in my studies as well nowadays, or maybe in upcoming days as well. I read few 1 or 2 I guess conferences on, or not conferences, but yes, a good classes on this part, that how to define that part. Okay, the important point is that a survey or questionnaire represents a set of questions to the stakeholder SME who responds and then collected and analyze. Now, after my training, I send a feedback link to everyone. It is kind of a survey only, which contains 10 questions. Limited set of people, I know them personally, I know them means day in day out, I work with them, so I got a good feedback. But yes, few users give me a accurate feedback as well, negative, positives, up and downs, all the things. And after that I analyze, shall I go for something different or not. Like, this training is kind of a feedback I received from my previous batches. Is everybody say Atul, ServiceNow is good, but I'm looking for the BA part as well. I want to go for the BA role. Then I think, oh my god, that is a good way. So I collected the responses by some or other way, maybe direct feedback, not a direct feedback, personal chats, discussions, but I collected something and I analyzed in order to formulate a knowledge about that. And then I formulate and knowledge it. The main point which is required in the survey is that your question time, close-ended and open-ended. Very, very, very important. Again, same interview wala. It should say that from a list of predefined responses such as yes or no, a multi-choice selection, a rank, other decision or statement regarding a level of agreement. Means in the close-ended questions includes, if you're asking any question in survey question, you should be able to get the accurate result. Do you drink, or do you drink the hard drinks, or maybe alcohol? Yes or no. Multiple choice questions. You are Do you like to be travel in the morning time between 6 to 9, 9 to 10, or early morning 4 to 6? Or ranking. How you will rank the personal life, work, money, marriage, parents, how you rank them, or something the statement requiring. What do you mean by the duality? Duality. Duality means when two things exist on the same time. Duality means when two terms whose meaning are same, working the same, is called a duality. So that is a closed-ended questions. There are, if you be little bit in this area, there are a lot of research paper on this question, on these as well, surveys and the questionnaires. Now, open-ended question, where you ask the question in free form without having a certain answer or list of predefined responses. Define yourself in 5 lines. Open-ended है, ठीक है? It is be useful when issues are known and the range of responses not. आपको पता issue है, लोग there is the attrition, you know, but why, that you don't know. Performance है, bonus है, salary है, holidays है, क्या चीजें हैं? I'm sorry, I'm talking about the PhD perspective, but in our industry, we have to put the questions in that manner. But this technique is used very less, or maybe we use this technique before we actually go for the workshop. You prepare a 5 or 10 questions and send it to your stakeholders. Guys, can you help me to understand this part? On the basis of that they respond, you will able to find out that who is stakeholder, what type of stakeholder they are. So these are the two types, close-ended or open-ended. Elements. Prepare, define the objective very clearly, target groups like interview, and choose the appropriate server, the questionnaire type, open-ended to the close-ended they're talking here. Select the sample group, very important. When you want to do a survey, you should be 100% agree, you should be 100% perfect in the selection of the sample groups. भाई अब मेरी कंपनी में 1 लाख लोग काम करते हैं. I cannot take a data from the 1 lakh people. I'll just send an email or the survey who joined in last 1 month. That is my sample group because they are the one who can tell me how I can improve my company performance. Okay, it depends on the multiple parameters. Demographics, team, regulations, standards, means a lot of things depend in the sampling part. Designations, role, responsibilities, feedbacks, kind of things. So it depends on you that how you want to go for this part. And finally, select the distribution, the collect the methods. It will be email, it will be voting, it will be some survey tool or something like that. Set the target level. That minimum, suppose you send an email to the 1,000 people and you say if out of 1,000, if I get a response from 500, I will be able to make a decision on the top of that. Okay. But it depends that what type of topic you are be going for the survey. Determine what response rate is acceptable and when it should be closed or considered as a complete. If actual response rate is lower than the expectable threshold, use the survey results may be limited. Same concept. अगर आपके पास कम result आ रहा है, कम users के आ रहा है, it is tough for to make results. Then determine if survey or questionnaire should be supported with the individual interviews. Very good point. भाई मैंने सर्वे किया, मुझे रिस्पॉन्ड मिला कि अल्कोहल is good for health. Let me go for some personal interview with the guys who having a alcohol from a long ages now, and let's see is it be supporting or not. So sometimes we go for the interviews as well. Write the survey question and test the survey and the question. These are the things which have to be take care in the survey part. In our journey, it take 2 to 3 months or the 4 months to just do this part in the journey which I'm talking. It's a very long process and very important process in our research area. Now distribute the survey or the questionnaire. लोग मिल गए, क्वेश्चनरी हो गया, ऑब्जेक्टिव हो गया, टारगेट्स हो गए, सिंपल डेटा हो गया. नाउ टाइम फॉर द डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन. Either you're using in-person, email or server tool, you have to be make sure that you are the urgency of obtaining the results. By COVID-19 अभी गया है, गया भी क्या? It's still in the progress. But if you do the survey on the COVID-19 after 10 years, then there's no purpose of having that part. The level of security, because that required the people are sharing some information with you, and maybe geographic distribution of the respondents, that how it's becoming, from which area it's becoming. And finally, document the results. Collect, summarize, and evaluate. I'm sure you're thinking, Atul, it is look easy, but it is too much time consuming. Too much. You have to be the main problem came in the survey and the question is that The language of the question change the things very drastically. Like I give example in the early days. Roko mat जाने दो. Roko mat जाने दो. Same words. The only thing is that pronunciation is different. In the both sentences, the meaning has been roko mat जाने दो. Don't stop. Let them go. Roko. Stop. mat जाने दो. Stop. Don't go. So now words are same, but your dots, your commas are important role play here. That change the complete structure. And specifically, if you are if you'll be sharing this survey questions or doing a survey with some proper English people, Europe region, US region, Canada regions, then you have to be very careful on your words, your dots, your commas, because that actually matter. That actually matter. Okay. Now यूसेज यस गुड है, अच्छा है, आपको अच्छे रिजल्ट्स मिल जाते हैं, बट लिमिटेशन क्या है? यू डोंट नो दैट ऑन विच सिचुएशन, ऑन विच circumstances that user is giving the answers. Low response होता है क्योंकि people are not interested to share the information. Either it is a yes, no, dots, checkbox, but they're not interested. Length of survey question also decrease the participation percentage. ठीक है जी, क्लियर हो गया यहाँ पे आपको कोई डाउट? सूरज एंड हितेश,
No, all okay तो हाँ तो था.
मुझे लग रहा है ऐसे डिस्कस करते रहे तो यू आल्सो बिकम माय, यू विल आल्सो डू द रिसर्च स्कॉलिंग. ओके, it is sometimes it's interesting topic. More you read, more you get interested. चलो अब चलते हैं नेक्स्ट चैप्टर पे. Now I have nothing much in this now because up to this part I did not proceed further in the previous batch. Let's come here. Okay.
So, sorry.
हाँ बोलिए 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 बोलिए, go ahead.
एक छोटा सा question. It might sound stupid because I'm not sure.
नहीं, it's it's
Uh,
it's it's ट्रेनिंग में कुछ स्टूपिड नहीं होता यार. If you don't ask then it will be stupid, otherwise it's all fine.
एक तरह शायद हंसे भी आ जाए, but ठीक है.
नहीं कोई दिक्कत नहीं.
मैं ये बोल रहा था कि let's say if we have less time for elicitation, can we alter elicitation with a survey form? नहीं ना, मतलब.
See, you again, Hitesh, that depends at everything. That's
Hmm.
everything depend on what you want to allocate. Now let's
Okay.
say after 2 days, today evening you get a call from your family
Yeah.
member that after 2 days there is a marriage. Okay. Now in this case, if you want to plan everything, you cannot wait कि भाई मॉर्निंग होगी, मैं स्टेकहोल्डर से
Yeah.
मिलूंगा, मैं वर्कशॉप का एजेंडा बनाता हूँ. You have to be do it
Mhm.
quickly. You just give a call to your manager and say, boss, I need to be travel after 2 days. Can we have a workshop tomorrow immediately? Right?
Hmm.
Or I can send an email, just answer me the basic question. In the meantime, I'll prepare some other things for you.
Okay.
These are the techniques. It depends when you want to use which technique. Maybe you say, guys, I cannot travel to your site for some personal reason. Can we have a workshop online itself? Can we have a focus group, or maybe can you send me the documents in the meantime? Right? It depends. Survey is one of the good thing, but when you do the survey, you will not, it is not guaranteed that you will get the 100% response. Number one, you will not show that the response which is given to you is with the biasness or without biasness. That
Okay.
is in the survey, to support your statements, you may go for the personal interviews as well. Maybe to support your, I tell you one important point. When I was in a company working as a service now trainer, okay, so I was working with another trainer. She's actually very senior in this area. Generally, when I take training, what I do, I get a list of the participant from anyone or any person and send an email. That's all. But that lady was so good because she has a good experience. Before sending the meeting invite, she send a survey to those guys. Guys, please fill this survey so that I can understand what is your background in service now. Maybe she just get out of 100, she just get 5 or 7 or 8 or 10 responses. But that give her a way of taking a training in a direction. तो सर्वे में उसका काम हो जाता था. Then she told me, Atul, do this practice. It will give you a clear information that what should be or how should be the training should be defined, should be organized, should be conducted in a proper manner. So that is small survey she do. Only maximum 4 to 5 questions were there. But she used this technique to complete the work.
Understood.
Okay.
So Atul, you mean to say we can have survey before our meetings and after our meetings as well?
Definitely, why not? If something has been left out, you can do after meeting as well. But
You know why I asked you?
Sorry. Go.
Why I asked you this question? Because survey का जो main aim है, that is for discovery, right? और realization का भी main जो aim है, that is discovery.
Discovery.
I was just thinking, So just thinking, why don't we, let's say if we have less time or maybe the client is in hurry, whatever, but we want to have a work done, right? So why can't we do a manipulation of words here and say, भाई चलो ठीक है, elicitation ही कर रहे हैं, but survey के उसमें skin में.
You can do, but again, Hitesh, the same point. There's a no guarantee the results you'll be getting is be the baseline for you or not. To do that, to support that, maybe you will go for the document analysis as well.
Right.
You will go for the prototyping as well. Maybe you go for the 1 or 2 interviews as well. Maybe you go for the reverse engineering as well. But agar I'm rolling out a survey and giving to you both of guys. Okay. What is the guarantee that you are giving or you are filling that survey with the proper dedication and the accuracy?
Right.
To support that results, I need to do that part. Right? The reason it is say in our research area that on the basis of your population, means to whom you'll be sending. If you get 20 to 30% of the, some people got 40-50% results as well. But when we start analyzing them, we find that it is a duplicate one. Like I send a survey to 100 of people. Out of 100, 20 or 30 are my good friend. They do it very properly. नहीं अतुल को सर्वे तो करना पड़ेगा, अच्छा करना पड़ेगा, तो accurate देना पड़ेगा. But 30, 40 or 20, 30 people, what they do? They just see the question on the high level. पहले 2-3 क्वेश्चन बढ़िया, yes no अच्छे लगे. उसके बाद yes, no, maybe like this. There's a tool available in the background to analyze that data, that how good the survey results are. I use that tool in my workshops. So that give a picture that is this survey is giving by seeing the responses that out of 1,000 I got the 800 responses doesn't mean that your results are also good. No. Maybe it's all full of the biasness. I forget that term which we use in these kind of results when people are not changing the value. मान लो 4 से 10 तक सबका आंसर यस ही कर दिया, जबकि आपको पता है कि इसमें आंसर यस होने के बजाय नो और मे बी होना चाहिए, लेकिन रिस्पोंडेंट ने सब में यस करके भेज दिया. इसका मतलब उसने क्वेश्चन ध्यान से नहीं पढ़े या उसका इंटरेस्ट नहीं.
I was about to say the same. Yeah.
Yes. So there are the tools available in market. A good paid tools are available in the market which help you to understand this part. I'm saying that in our PhD journey, this defining the survey question take 3 to 4 months approximately. सोचो उसके बाद इसके पायलट रन होता है और फिर ये एक्चुअल पॉपुलेशन के पास जाता है. ठीक. So these are the things which we need to be doing the survey. But yes, you can use any other technique. आपके स्टेक होल्डर 10 हैं लेकिन उनकी टीम में काम करने वाले 50 हैं. आप 50 के साथ आप वर्कशॉप नहीं कर सकते, इंटरव्यू नहीं कर सकते. यूज अ सर्वे मेथड, जस्ट गेट अ फील कि उनका कैसा है, कैसा टूल है उनका, कैसा काम चल रहा है. ठीक है. Now let's come to the next topic or the next chapter. This one.
Thank you.
Till now what we did, we done the introduction part. We understand the BA core concepts. We done the stakeholder part. We done the enterprise analysis. We done the what I can say planning and management part. We done the allocation and the collaboration. Now it comes that what is the life cycle of a requirement. भाई आपने requirement लिया, अब वो कब माना जाएगा कि complete हो गया? That come into the requirement life cycle management. Okay, so let me come here now. The requirement lifecycle management knowledge area describes the task that business needs to perform to manage and maintain the requirement and design information from the inception to the retirement. मतलब हमने पहले सबसे पहले in the chapter 4th we say that what to gather. In the chapter number 4, how to gather. In chapter number 5, the information which I gather, how I'll make sure that I gather, design and develop and retire. एक लाइफ साइकिल है भाई. मुझे आई नीड टू बी गो टू अ मैरिज, कैसे जाना है, वी डन हेयर. इंफॉर्मेशन कैसे गैदर करनी है वहां जाने की, डन हेयर. अब मैं वहां पहुंच गया, उसका लाइफ साइकिल क्या है? डे 1 दिस फंक्शन, डिनर स्लीप. डे 2 दिस फंक्शन, लंच डिनर स्लीप. डे 3 दिस फंक्शन, लंच डिनर स्लीप. फोर्थ कम बैक. Life cycle over, marriage over, function over. So in this particular topic, in this particular chapter, in this particular step, we are going to be discuss that how to manage and maintain the requirement, because requirement is the one which change every day from the user perspective. जो आप build कर रहे हो सकता है जब वो build हो जाए उसके बाद यूजर बोले नहीं यार इसमें थोड़ा सा और change करते हैं. That is again a requirement. So what they say, these tasks describe the establishing meaningful relationship between the related requirement design, assigning changes to the requirement, and design when change are proposed, analyze, and gather on the consequences part. Very important. What they say is it is a kind of a way of working where you pick up some requirement. Let's say I want to be implement, I want to be create a web page with the username and the password, the two fields are there. That is my requirement. Okay, you start designing that requirement. Maybe on the pen paper, maybe on the HTML code, something. You assessing that change to the requirement. नहीं नहीं यार ये ना अच्छा नहीं लग रहा, यूजर नेम और ये अच्छा नहीं है, कुछ और देखना पड़ेगा. And when the designing change and requirement design and when changes are proposed, when you say okay guys it will look like this, people start analyzing and start giving you the feedback, consequences. नहीं अतुल इसको बोल्ड करो थोड़ा सा, ओके को रेड बटन में मत करो, ग्रीन में रखो इसको. मैसेज जो आएगा वो ऐसे आएगा. So it means you are assessing that part, getting the consequences, getting the feedback. ठीक है, but these steps are we doing on a very regular basis, लेकिन indirect form में. Now if I say that every day I go for a refinement call with my dev leads or my tech leads, actually I'm doing this thing, but indirectly I'm not building anything, but we are thinking that it will be built like this, and what are the consequences if it build, what is the parameter we have to be understand when we're designing that part. So that is called the requirement lifecycle management. Okay, what it do, it help to ensure that business and systems is available for the future use. Definitely the requirement lifecycle begins with the representation the business need as a requirement. I need a web page, that is a representation है मेरे requirement का. Continue through the development of a solution. You start working on the development part. and ends when a solution and the requirement that represent is retired. Means आपका development complete हो गया, people are using now you can retire that particular require requirement. ठीक है. If you remember, there is a concept called the SDLC, software development life cycle. In the same manner, they have a RLCM, requirement lifecycle management. ठीक. In this major, what they'll be saying here, that how it will look like. See, the requirement lifecycle management. The state listed here are not the intended to be a comprehensive listing. Means उसने सिर्फ purpose के लिए डाला, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. You have a requirement, you start assessing that part. Then you send for the approval. या तो yes होगा या no होगा. I want to go to Ladakh from Pune. I assess at my side and put it for the approval from my family. Bring forward like this. Then approval of the consequences. नहीं भाई अभी नहीं, बच्चों के एग्जाम चल रहे हैं, छुट्टियां नहीं है, बजट नहीं है, हमें शादी में भी जाना है. So those are the approval of the consequences are starting here. If it goes well, it go to the next part. If it is no, maybe not every area but some areas, then you again go back and make a changes. Again potentially you start changing that part. If yes, then you trace it, then you maintain it, then you prioritize it. This is 3 topics which we are going to be discussed in our chapter: trace, maintain, prioritize, and assess the changes, and finally approve the requirements. Okay, now if I scroll down, let's see this part because this is important here. The requirement lifecycle management includes the following tasks. Number 1, the tracing the requirement. कि मैं कर क्या रहा हूं, मेरे पास कितनी requirement है. So if you remember, there's a concept called the traceability matrix. On the day, I guess in the chapter number 3 or 2 or 3 शायद. What it says, the trace requirement analyze and maintain the relationship between the requirement, design, solution, and other work products. ट्रेस मीनिंग क्या होता है कि आपको सिर्फ चेक करना है कि चल क्या रहा है इसके ऊपर, कहां पर है ये, कितना हो गया ये आप देख सकते हैं, कैसे हुआ की जरूरत नहीं है. यू जस्ट वरीड अबाउट दीज रिलेशनशिप. रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है, उसका डिजाइन क्या है, उसका सॉल्यूशन कंपोनेंट्स क्या है और उसका अदर प्रोडक्ट्स क्या है. एनालाइज एंड मेंटेन. सी कि कहां पर in this phase you will see that what is the blocker here, why it is not moving, so that it's called the analyze here, and maintaining the relationship between all these things. Maintain requirement. It means the information you require to build a solution on the basis of the requirement should be accurate and throughout the life cycle should be same. On the day 1, my customer says, I want to be implement to approval in my change management. Till the time it is not fully developed, there's a no change should be happen to the requirement. Another important point that is called the maintenance. Maintenance means, by remember one thing, developer is like a person. If you write a wrong spelling in your error message, they will copy paste the same. It is you as a BA to be responsible that the requirement which are gathering should be maintained, should be accurate throughout the life cycle. That is very much important. If a requirement is changing in every day, then it is tough for the developer or the designer to build that requirement. इसे हम कहते हैं ये फ्रीज कर दो रिक्वायरमेंट सब एक बार कि बस इसके बाद कोई रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं ली जाएगी. अगर होगा हम करेंगे, मैं नहीं कह रहा हम चेंज नहीं करेंगे, we will do the changes, but it will be done in the next sprint, not immediately. Then prioritize the requirement. This question I asked in my interview specifically. Specifically, I asked these questions. How you will do prioritization of your requirements. The prioritization depends on the number of parameters. Number one, assess the value. By developing this particular requirement, what value I am getting. Okay, what is the urgency of this requirement to be developed? And what is the risk associated with the particular requirements? That if I did not develop it, then what will be the risk? Like the example, when this Brexit issue happened, there's a lot of things has been changed immediately. Nobody can work outside Europe. Data should not go out of Europe. The user who are be working, the people who are working should be in reside in Europe, or some VPN should be there. So what this means? This means risk associated with the particular requirement and designed to ensure that analysis and or deliver the work is done on the most important on a given time. So mainly these things, three parameters we take it for the prioritization part. What value, urgency, risk associated, you can say the business need, maybe you can say some milestone. So these things are there which help you to prioritize the requirement. But if I talk from my experience perspective, I as a BA is not 100% responsible for the prioritization part. I take a help from my product owner. That boss tell me how you want to what requirement you want to prioritize. Then assess the requirement changes. Evaluate the new and changing stakeholder requirement to determine if they need to be acted with the scope of the change. भाई आप कुछ build कर रहे हो. Now let's say example. We are running this training with a set of agenda now. That is a requirement. Now if I start changing that agenda, maybe you have a question, Atul, please don't change the agenda now. It is in my scope. That is why I join this training. If you're changing something, you're deleting something in the agenda, that will be hamper my training. You can do, but not in this batch. But if I add some more topics in this area, which is beneficial for you, both of you, then you may say, yes, Adul, we are happy with the extension of the agenda now. So it depends, specifically it depends. And finally, approve the requirement. What approval says basically what you get it from your stakeholders when you documented it. And finally, when you send the document for the sign off from the customer, that was give me a sign off on this area so that I can proceed further. So these 5 topics is important and we are going to be understand in the particular chapter called the requirement lifecycle management. We already have this core concept model in our discussion BACCM. Why they're giving this? Just to understand this part. Same thing, change, need, solution, stakeholder, value, and context. But now what they did, the 5 parameters which we discuss, they bring that into these model. Like maintain, trace, prioritize. So what this is, change the act of transformation, manage how the changes to the requirement, and design to be evaluated. They're saying change means under this change means you'll be seeing this part. Assess the requirement changes. Then need. It means trace, prioritize, and maintaining this part. That is a need here. Solution. Trace requirement and design to the solution components. ट्रेस भी करो और उसको डिजाइन का काम भी करके दो. So what they are saying that they are dividing this BACCM concepts as per my requirement planning part as well. Stakeholder, work with the stakeholder to understand and maintain the requirement and designing approvals. And at last, value, maintaining requirement for the reuse to extend the value of the current initiative. And finally, context, which helps with the prioritization and the activities. So this BACCM model will be able, I guess, is available in the monitoring as well. If I go, let's check here. Yes. So like in the BACCM, if I'm talking about the planning part, so what should become in the change? What should become in the need? What should become in the solution? That is, in this says that BACCM model is very important for every BA. And then as per the step, as per the phase, you can define BACCM with the categories of the or the task of the required topic. Like in the planning, the same 6 concepts are used, but the activities has been changed, like these things. These 5 or 6 tasks has been changed to this understanding area. It is just for the understanding, nothing to be worried on that part. Okay. Now come back here. यहाँ तक क्लियर है ना, कोई डाउट तो नहीं?
No,
सूरज हितेश, all clear. Now I'm sure that it is looks interesting now, right? Okay. Chalo. Now let's go to the next point. How this life cycle look like? So what are the inputs available here? You have a requirement, you have a design, you have a proposed changes. Once you've done all the things, you get the ekdam verified one that okay, this is I am going to build in now. To do this part, what you do? These 5 steps which we discuss: trace, maintain, prioritize, requirement changes, and approve. These 5 topics they are saying. And what is the output? ट्रेसिंग हो जाएगी, डिजाइनिंग का ट्रेस हो, मतलब सेम चीज है, मेंटेनेंस हो जाएगा. मींस if I want to achieve these 5 or 7 steps, these are the actions I need to be do it, which we discussed in the previous section as well. And these are the inputs for this. So in short, in the requirement life cycle, I'm going to do only 5 things: how to trace, how to maintain, how to prioritize, how to assess the changes, and how to approve the requirements. So these 5 topics will be covered now in this area in a depth now. Now if I come to this one, trace, so now you can see the good part of this book is that they are using the same structure for the every chapter. Purpose है, description है, input है, element है, guidelines है, outputs and stakeholders. So you should able to understand, okay, मैं किस context में क्या बात करना जा रहा हूँ, या मैं किस context में क्या समझना चाह रहा हूँ अभी. ठीक है. Now trace the requirement. The purpose of tracing means to make sure you are keep a track of your all requirements. See, being a BA, मेरा काम खत्म नहीं हुआ अभी. Only one part has been done. Now if I come to this, sorry, not this one. Congo screenshot here. So this one, I'm here now, requirement analysis and the documentation. This part. जबकि वो डिजाइन डेफिनेशन है, मतलब यहां तक पहुंचने के लिए मुझे सारा काम करना पड़ेगा पहले. So I'm here now. I gather the requirement, that's fine. Let me take this on the top. I gather my requirements. Now, before I reach up to this step, I have to make sure few things. What things? I have to make sure that what requirement I got it. That is a tracing of that part. Because Once I do that part, only then I can do this analysis part here. Design definition. That how to build in this area. These things, verify and all the things. And after that, I'll go for the solutioning part. This one. Solution assessment and the validation part. And then finally communicate back to my customer. That is when I always put this thing very clearly, because this will give you the clear picture that what a BA need to do. So it's look 3 steps, but in these 3 steps, a lot of other things are be getting covered here. Okay, so let's come back here. Otherwise, ensure that requirement and design at a different level are aligned to one another. Means what you're be tracing. Sorry, in the tracement, what you're saying that I am building I am having a requirement which has been other users also have a requirement. Then to make sure that these two should be aligned, and I should able to manage the effect of one to the another, or one level to the another level. Okay, but I want to go to, as I say, I want to go to Ladakh for the 2 weeks. Okay, or let's take example, when any senior guy in a team go on leave, maybe he says I'm going on a personally for the 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or the 4 weeks, 5 weeks, like in in specifically in the Europe region or the US region, when people go on the vacation, there's some backfilling as well for the 4 weeks, for the 5 weeks, like this. Okay, so what they do, his manager or his manager to manager, they start tracing that requirement. Okay, he's going on leave, how it will going to impact, what important meetings we have during that timing, so all the things will be there. So in this, they make sure that the requirement and design at a different level are aligned to each other. ऐसा नहीं कि आप कुछ अभी build करें, उसको build करने से कुछ पुराना फट जाए. That is called the trace requirement. Description, requirement traceability, identify and document the lineage of each requirement. Means I told you that there's a concept called the requirement traceability matrix. It says in the traceability, you have to make sure that if you're building something now, it should not impact in the backwards as well. I am building a change approval workflow. जब ये build हो रहा है, solution design हो रहा है, proposals चल रहे हैं, I have to be make sure that the existing change flow should not be hampered. Also, make sure it should not impact on the forward traceability as well. कि आगे जाके कुछ और build करना हो तो मेरे लिए कुछ problem हो जाए. Okay, the reason it is in this particular thing, they are saying the traceability word here. Very good word to be used here. Traceability is used to help ensure that the solution conforms to the requirement to assist in the scope, change, risk, time, and cost. What you want to build, you have to make sure you have to trace them on the parameters of these things. मेरे scope में नहीं है incident को change को link करना. But in this requirement, I'm doing that part. Boss, it's not in the scope. Let's not trace that now. Okay, this traceability help faster and the simpler impact analysis. If you get the data in the Excel format, you are easily able to see if I do this thing, it can impact the other thing as well. It is reliable for the next level discoveries or the gaps as well. It will give actually traceability give a depth to the designing part and the complexity of the change. Like one of my customers says, Atul, I want internal portal for my customers to raise a change. He give me this and done. Now when I'm doing the traceability on that part, I found that it is very complex because it is not that much easy to build a form on the portal and give it to the customers. So this particular traceability help us to do that part as well. Okay. Now if I show you the visual representation like this, how the process traceability work. Anything you can be said like it starts from the value chain, then you have a process, sub process, activity, and a task. Or like this, you can say this is a normal one, process traceability. This is on the process level. Again, don't confuse it. Say it is for everyone. No, it is a process. Now, if you want to see the software requirement which I want to build, what is the business need? What is the business requirement? What is the stakeholder requirement? And what is the solution requirement? In solution, I have a design, I have a code, I have a test. Maybe tomorrow, if I get a hardware requirement traceability, I have something similar, but in the different name. क्योंकि हार्डवेयर में हो सकता है शायद टेस्ट नहीं, कोड नहीं होगा, बट डिजाइनिंग तो होगा, उसका अलग से डिजाइन करना पड़ेगा आपको, उसको टेस्ट करना पड़ेगा आपको. ओके, now let me stop here only. I'll not go forward because it's getting little confused here. Tomorrow we will pick up this topic, okay, on this traceability requirement input, and we'll discuss the end-to-end part, that how this has been work actually. Now in these topics you will find these pictures very frequently, which help us to understand that what I'm going to build it here. Okay, let me stop the recording here.
So Atul, this BA